Nvidia has finally taken the lid off their upcoming RTX 3080 Ti, a new GPU dropping tomorrow as a near replacement in many workloads for the RTX 3090. Can anyone remember when George Clooney wasn't a movie star? The actor toiled in television for almost 20 years before landing his breakout role in 1994 as Dr. The big differentiator here will be VRAM, and gamers who don't need more than 12 GB will be able to save a little money, so long as you were in the market for a $1,000 plus GPU in the first place. Despite the name, the new RTX 3080 Ti is not a replacement for the RTX 3080. Doug Ross in the iconic medical drama It's a drop-in replacement for the RTX 3090, for everyone who doesn't need more GPU VRAM. Nvidia isn't shy about asking for money for the card, either. However, despite reaching unprecedented professional success, he left the show in 1999. The rest, as they say, is history. In 1988, during a decade of muscle-bound action stars, Bruce Willis was plucked from his biggest job to date, the comedic detective series Moonlighting, to become an unlikely action hero in Die Hard. The RTX 3080 Ti has 1.17x more cores than its predecessor, but it's a whopping 1.71x more expensive. We can assume there will be a future GPU to address this gap, but the price increase here is exactly the opposite of how a typical refresh cycle works. Then again, this is a damned odd refresh cycle. The RTX 3080 Ti is early for a typical refresh. He hasn't returned to starring television role since. Granted, the case could be made that he shouldn't return to any more Die Hard movies, but we digress. The point is, some actors have left their greatest professional success to enjoy even greater success. It's even earlier, relative to the RTX 3070 and RTX 3080, than the RTX 2000 Super GPUs were relative to the RTX 2080 and RTX 2070. Generally speaking, when Nvidia or AMD introduces a GPU like this, the new cards reduce the cost and improve the performance ratio of the previous family. Our list below isn't those people. Here are a few actors who destroyed their careers by walking away from a hit show. Chevy Chase cancelled himself for a girl historians will rightly call Saturday Night Live a groundbreaking late-night sketch show that cemented itself as a comedy institution during its near 5-decade run. However, when it first premiered in 1975, not many knew what it would become, including original cast member Chevy Chase. As one of the iconic show's breakout stars, Chase decided to leave halfway through season 2 to marry his second wife, Jacqueline Carlin. "I tried to pretend that everything was great," the comedian told the Los Angeles Times in 2011. "I was leaving really because there was a girl I wanted to marry that I was infatuated with out here. The whole thing was crazy because I was a young fellow who was infatuated with the wrong person." The RTX 3080 Ti doesn't do that. What makes the new card's price even more unusual is AMD's ostensible market positioning. The RTX 2000 series launched at much higher prices than Pascal had carried, and they launched at a time when AMD wasn't offering much in the way of effective competition in the GPU market. Right now, AMD's RDNA 2 GPUs are competition for Nvidia, or they would be if anyone could buy one. Everybody there knew it except me. A woman. Who would not move to New York and insisted that I come there. AMD GPUs are, by all accounts, even harder to come by than Nvidia cards. This speaks to the larger problem. Nvidia is raising prices most likely in part because it can't meet demand at lower price points. Raising prices will reduce demand for these GPUs and allow Nvidia to capture more of the price inflation that has been flowing to OEMs. The decision to outfit the 3080 Ti with just 12 GB of VRAM is an interesting one. It may be partly due to GDDR6 shortages. The original 3080 Ti as rumored for last year was a 20 GB GPU with a 16 GB RTX 3070. The new GPUs will not mine cryptocurrency as quickly as the previous family did. The RTX 3070 Ti will launch on June 10 with claimed performance 1.5x higher than the RTX 2070 Super. It was all nuts, looking back on it. Unlike the RTX 3080 Ti, it will continue to offer just 8 GB of VRAM. Gamers should be aware that ray tracing titles can use more than 8 GB of VRAM. But I did regret it. Chase did become one of the biggest stars of the 80s, but his career flamed out for a multitude of reasons. Rumors that the vacation star is a nightmare to work with. Our tests of the 6700 XT showed that it's possible to hit the 8 GB VRAM limit on an RTX 3070 when you activate ray tracing at 4K. At 1080p and 1440p, the RTX 3070 is faster than the 6700 XT in ray tracing workloads. At 4K, RTX 2080 and RTX 3070 RT performance collapses in both Godfall and Legion. In just one example, when asked about his reportedly rough experience with Chase on Community, co-star Donald Glover told The New Yorker, "I just saw Chevy as fighting time. A true artist has to be okay.
With his reign being over, I can't help him if he's thrashing in the water. But I know there's a human in there somewhere. Ouch." Will Wheaton boldly went where lots of actors end up going. Actor Will Wheaton became known to general audiences for playing Gordy LaChance in the 1986 film Stand By Me, but his career-defining role came the following year. The 6700 XT, with its larger VRAM buffer, remains steady. We're still quite early in the rollout of ray tracing support for next-generation video games. Cast as Wesley Crusher, the only son of Beverly Crusher, the chief medical officer aboard the USS Enterprise on Star Trek: The Next Generation, Wheaton was an essential part of the seminal series. However, 4 seasons later, Wheaton quit the show to seek other opportunities in television and movies. A cursory glance at his IMDb reveals that those dreams never fully materialized. "I left Star Trek: The Next Generation when I was 18 years old, and initially I thought that it was a really smart business career move," Wheaton said during a Star Trek reunion at the Calgary Expo in 2012. This implies that 8 GB and smaller GPUs could face VRAM pressure at higher resolutions when RT is enabled, even if their GPU cores are otherwise powerful enough to handle the workload. When you'll be able to buy these cards is anyone's guess and depends on how the crypto bubble evolves from here. Now read. "In some ways it was, and in more ways it wasn't. And what I was unprepared for was how much I was going to miss the people on this stage. After that ended, I just felt really ashamed of myself. And I felt like I just couldn't go to the set, and I felt like I couldn't look them in the eye," he continued. "I felt like I didn't have the right to invite them to my wedding. Years after that, I sort of saw them at a few conventions and I just tried to sort of say, I apologize for being a kid." Suzanne Summers took a stand and her career paid the price in 1977. Suzanne Summers' life changed when she was cast as the ditzy Chrissy Snow in the hit sitcom Three's Company. However, ahead of season 5, trouble began when she asked for equal pay to that of her co-star John Ritter, who was making $150,000 per episode, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Summers was making $30,000. The network counter offered with a $5,000 raise, and when she refused, her role was decreased to 60 seconds per episode and shot separately from the rest of the cast, according to Business Insider. And with that, she walked. Summers' career immediately took a nosedive, unless you count The Thighmaster, and didn't really recover until she landed a starring role on the TGIF hit Step by Step in 1991, which ran for a solid 7 seasons. It took much longer to rebound in the same way with her Three's Company co-stars, John Ritter and Joyce DeWitt, who refused to speak to her for decades. "To this day, I feel a sadness for not being able to finish out Three's Company," Summers told the Television Academy Foundation in 2009. "I still have a heartache that it ended so badly, this wonderful thing. John Ritter and I made up right before he died, which I was so glad." Fortunately, Summers also managed to finally make amends with DeWitt in 2012 when the two appeared on Summers' Breaking Through series for an emotional reunion. Brian Dunkelman went from American Idol to Uber when American Idol hit the airwaves in 2002. It became a nationwide phenomenon and ushered in the age of singing competition television series and changed the face of music forever. You rattle off the household names it created easily: Simon Cowell, Randy Jackson, Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Fantasia. The list goes on and on. But has anyone reached the level of success of its host Ryan Seacrest? The guy is everywhere, and still presumably living extremely comfortably since going from the jaw-dropping $21 million deal he signed with E! in 2006 to his current net worth of $430 million. However, some of you might remember that the first season had 2 hosts, Ryan Seacrest and Brian Dunkelman. The latter left the show to pursue, wait for it, a career in stand-up comedy. His plan didn't work out, as he revealed in a January 2019 tweet that he chose to stop doing stand-up comedy and started driving an Uber to support his family during a particularly rough patch in their lives. Needless to say, he wishes he remained on the show. The undeniable truth is, I just didn't have the wisdom at the time to handle what was happening, Dunkelman wrote in Variety in 2016. Do I regret not remaining on the show now that it's coming to an end? Yes. Especially when I open my bank statements. Jason Priestley isn't trying to be Brandon Walsh anymore. Beverly Hills, 90210, was an instant classic when it premiered on October 4, 1990. The cast, who were unknowns when the teen drama began, became megastars during the show's decade-long run.
But Jason Priestley, who became a teen heartthrob as Brandon Walsh, decided 9 seasons was enough, and he left the show believing he did all he could do with the character. In retrospect, I do regret leaving, Priestley told CNN in 2014. Understanding what I do now about story and character, I believe that Aaron Spelling was pushing the story in a direction that would have had Brandon and Kelly end up together at the end of the show, and I think I probably should have stuck around to its fruition. Ironically, Priestley admitted that his departure was terrible for the show. I think there was no more moral center to the show, he explained. There was no more linchpin. There were no more Walshes in the Walsh house. It kind of didn't make sense anymore. So, I regret leaving the show for all those reasons. Just 1 year before expressing his regret over leaving Beverly Hills, 90210, Priestley seemed to say that repeating that level of stardom wasn't his goal. I still have this incredibly active and very successful career, he told The Hollywood Reporter in 2013, adding, I work on projects all around the world and win awards, and I'm pretty much invisible in Hollywood. And yet, Priestley did attempt to breach the mainstream once more in 2019 with the series revival BH 90210. It was cancelled after 1 season. Shannon Doherty's co-stars weren't exactly charmed by her, although she had a small role in 1988's cult classic Heathers. Shannon Doherty became a household name as Brenda Walsh 2 years later in the teen drama Beverly Hills 90210. However, by the 4th season, Doherty had earned a reputation as being difficult on set. And a reported fistfight between her and fellow co-star Jenny Garth was allegedly the last straw for Doherty's castmates, specifically Tori Spelling. In 2015, via Us Weekly, Spelling revealed that she made a call to her father, legendary producer Aaron Spelling, that resulted in Doherty's firing. Spelling gave Doherty another chance 4 years later in his WB series Charmed. But by the end of the 3rd season, Doherty was let go amid rumors of a feud with co-star Alyssa Milano. According to a report in the New York Daily News, Doherty's departure was called a mutual decision. Still, sources said Milano gave the producers an ultimatum: either Doherty goes or she would. Rose McGowan subsequently replaced Doherty. However, in 2013, Milano told host Andy Cohen, via Us Weekly, that the cast never really found out why Doherty left the show, but she didn't paint the best picture either, admitting, there were definitely some rough days. Doherty herself even got candid about the fallout, telling Parade, via E! News, in 2010, I had this amazing career in front of me, and because of some of the things I did, my career really suffered. Thank God that I've had some second chances. Polly Perrette called out her co-star and bailed on her biggest role for 15 seasons. Polly Perrette played fan-favorite forensic scientist Abby Sciuto on NCIS. But on Sunday, May 13, 2018, she left the show, then dropped a series of cryptic tweets about the dark reason behind her exit. There is a machine keeping me silent, and feeding false stories about me. A very rich, very powerful publicity machine. No morals, no obligation to truth, and I'm just left here, reading the lies, trying to protect my crew. Trying to remain calm. He did it, she tweeted. She added, it's horrifying. I left. Multiple physical assaults. I really get it now. Stay safe. Nothing is worth your safety. Tell someone. A month later, Perrette alleged that NCIS star Mark Harmon was involved when there was speculation that Perrette might return. No, I am not coming back. Ever. Please stop asking? I am terrified of Harmon and him attacking me. I have nightmares about it, she tweeted. In a statement obtained by People, CBS confirmed her allegations. Over a year ago, Polly came to us with a workplace concern. Part of the statement read, we took the matter seriously and worked with her to find a resolution. At the time of this writing, Harmon has yet to respond to Perrette's allegations. Since her departure, Perrette's career has been stagnant. According to IMDb, her only project, as of this writing, is the pilot of a 2020 CBS comedy Broke, which hasn't really generated any buzz and doesn't have any other big names attached to it. Alicia Lisi Göransson will always be Old Becky during Roseanne's original run on ABC. Alicia Lisi Göransson left her role as Becky Connor to attend college during the hit sitcom's fifth season. She returned 3 seasons later, where she shared the part with Sarah Chalke, but she then left the show for good the following season. After her time on Roseanne, Göransson's acting career didn't reach the heights she was expecting. It started well. She starred in 2 indie hits, 1995's How to Make an American Quilt and 1997's Boys Don't Cry, the film that put Hilary Swank on the map. But after that, her credits consisted of guest spots on various television shows like Law and Order, SVU, Damages, Fringe, and Sex and the City. That all changed in 2018 when she returned as Becky Connor in the Roseanne reboot. It premiered to massive ratings but was ultimately cancelled after Roseanne Barr fired off a racist tweet about former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett. Devastated by the cancellation of At Roseanne on ABC, Göransson wrote in a now-deleted tweet, via Deadline. But more devastating are the effects of hate speech and racism on individuals and society. Thank you for your support. And, in the spirit of our amazing crew, spread love not hate. At the time of this writing, Göransson is playing the eldest Connor daughter once again in the Roseanne Les the Connors. Christopher Eccleston went from Doctor Who to Who. After 17 years off the air, Doctor Who, the beloved and iconic sci-fi series, was rebooted in 2005 with actor Christopher Eccleston cast as the Ninth Doctor. The marriage looked bright, but after just 1 season, Eccleston quit the series due to creative differences with the show's producers. He was replaced by David Tennant, who held the role for the next 8 years. During a 2016 interview with 774 ABC Melbourne's Drive, via Gizmodo, Eccleston admitted that it was tragic that he was unable to play the character longer. I was learning new skills, in terms of playing light comedy, he explained. I was not known for light comedy and, again, production did not allow for that. However, speaking to The Guardian in 2018, he revealed that his decision to leave the show almost cost him his career. What happened around Doctor Who almost destroyed my career, he explained. I gave them a hit show and I left with dignity and then they put me on a blacklist. I was carrying my own insecurities as it was something I had never done before and then I was abandoned, vilified in the tabloid press and blacklisted. The same year, he told Radio Times, my relationship with my 3 immediate superiors, the showrunner, the producer and co-producer, broke down irreparably during the first block of filming and it never recovered. They lost trust in me, and I lost faith and trust and belief in them.